Hello and welcome to the Blackout Podcast, where I get to talk to amazing people who do amazing things. And today I have super talented poet Damini Awoyiga. Thanks for coming to the podcast today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so I've been hearing your name in the city and like kind of seeing your performance on your Instagram, and then my friend Boma had you. You guys kind of had like a collab. So you had the interview at CTV, or I think it was CTV, and then the actual painting and your poem was on on the big wall at the thing, and I'm like, okay, I need to talk to this person. So super grateful you came in today. But like with the poetry, how did that start for you?
So the journey started when I was like 10, and I went to the MSVU Girls Conference, and my mom had told me about this poem called Black Girl Fly by Fumila Fagbamila, a poet from America who's also Nigerian. And so I started practicing that poem, and when I got to the Girls Conference, I was hoping that I could perform it in front of everyone there and to inspire other Black girls that are there. So I asked Elle Jones, who is now my mentor, to have the opportunity to be able to read it in front of everyone, and she said yes. So I went up there and I read my first poem. And after that experience of reading that poem, I started to write my own, and that's how my journey began.
So like, what about that experience made you decide to like, okay, cool, I'm gonna write mine?
I definitely was like, if I keep performing and if people keep inviting me to perform, I don't want to be performing someone else's poems. I want to be able to perform mine, and also to be able to speak through my poetry, because I saw the power that the poem by Fumila Fagbamila communicated to the audience. And I was like, if I could do that with my own words written by me, it could have such a greater impact.
Okay, so poetry is so powerful, and I mean, you saw that when you performed. When it comes to writing yours, do you have a process, or I guess this is years ago? How was it when you started writing versus how you write your poems now?
Oh, it's a lot different.
Okay.
Yeah, because when I was like 10 writing them, I didn't really know what I was doing. It took a lot of practice, a lot of research, a lot of growth. And eventually I found like resources. For example, whenever I write, I like listening to music. So a lot of my inspiration comes from music that are themed around whatever poem I'm writing. And I like to do research on like Instagram, Twitter, reading Twitter threads and seeing what I can find through that. And also watching slam poetry to find my rhythm or whatever I want to use for that specific poem.
Oh, so what kind of songs do you listen to?
Mostly R&B, hip hop. It depends. For example, when I was writing a poem called Rise Again, which kind of was like a tribute to Maya Angelou's poem, And Still I Rise, and also a tribute to how just Black people continue to rise despite adversities that they face. So I went and I listened to like a podcast about being Black in Canada, and then I listened to some music that was like based on a playlist that was played at the Black Lives Matter protests.
That's so much work.
It's fun work though.
Right. You know what? Yeah. I you know what? I agree. Because like when you're doing something you like, it's like,
Yeah.
whatever. It's, I'm enjoying myself. But it's still a lot of work. And oh yeah, how do you know the poem is done? It's ready. This is it. I'm not gonna write anymore. I'm not gonna take anything more out.
It tends to be like, I don't know. It just, I feel like for my poetry, there's always something to add. I can't really say, because there's times where I'll write a poem and I'll like want to perform it again, and I'll end up like editing and adding a bunch of new things, so the poem won't necessarily be the same. I guess when I read it through and I feel like the rhythm is like right, I'll just leave it. Or I'll show my parents, and if they have anything to say about it, and then they're like, oh no, it's really good, I'll leave it. But if I feel like there needs to be more, then I'll add to it. And if it has to do with a lot of rhythm. If the rhythm isn't right, I'll know that it's not done. But if the rhythm is really good, then I'll know that it's done.
So, do you ever have a situation where like you show it to your folks or your mentor, and they're like, add stuff or whatever, and you're like, no, this is it. Do you ever have situations like that?
Yes, I do. I sometimes have an attachment to what I write, and I don't want to change it at all because I'm like, it's perfect. I have such attachment to it. But sometimes it needs changing, and I'll have to walk away from my poem and then come back. And most times I do implement those changes because sometimes when you've just written something, you can't really look back and see, okay, this part needs to be changed because you're so attached to what you've just put out and how much work it got to get out of you. So I have to come back to it and take another look with fresh eyes.
Do you, with your poetry, so, yeah. Do you write like with a pen? Do you type it out?
It's actually both. If I don't have access to my computer, I'll most times write. I like typing more because it's easier. If I read articles, it'll just flow off faster than if I was to read and then write. But it usually depends. My shorter poems are handwritten. My longer poems are typed up.
Yeah. I mean, I'm always envious of people that can write because I sometimes can't read my writing. So even if I take notes, I just type it on my phone.
Yeah, that does happen to me. I do like write sometimes and I can't read what I wrote.
Right. I'm like, what's this?
What is this?
and then sometimes I have to go back and read everything. I'm like, okay,
that's what I meant.
Yeah, this is what I meant. So I avoid that and type. But I'm also envious of people that write because there's kind of this connection between your, the pen, the paper, your hand, and your brain and your heart when you're writing. And it's like, okay, I'm feeling it. But I just can't do that. Also, I don't write poems, so no. Okay. You've been writing for years and years and years. Are you like gonna put it all in a book, or?
I want to. If anybody wants to invite me to write a book, I'm down. But I really do hope to, maybe in the next year, to get like a compilation of all my poems and produce a book.
Do you have a name you'll call that book?
I did have this name because I was gonna submit for this thing where they like publish your compiled poems, and I think I named it the document through expressions of time or something like that.
Why that sentence?
Because like my poetry was something that evolved over time, and it became my way of expressing my emotions.
Oh, I see. So, like, do you have things you've written that no one has seen?
Yes. Yes.
That was a quick
Yes, a lot of the vulnerable poems.
Why? Like, will we ever see them or?
I don't know. I don't know. I'll try to get them out there. I'll try.
Oh wait, so yeah, we're gonna read like the edited version, though, not
Probably
the original.
will be edited, but maybe in the future one day when I'm old, I'll produce all the raw ones and put them out there.
Right. So, Jones is your mentor. How's that relationship? How did the mentorship begin, and what are some of the things you've learned from her?
Yeah, it's amazing. It started on that day where I first read the poem by Fumila Fagbamila. And since then, we've continued to connect. She's introduced me to many opportunities that I now have. And she actually, Elle Jones and Rebecca Thomas actually put the idea / spark of being like poet laureate into my head. Because I've always thought, that'd be something cool I'd want to do. But then they also helped to encourage it. And also Elle Jones has really taught me about activism, selflessness, and really giving to the community.
But you're 16 though.
It's never too young to start.
No, I know. Like, I mean, do you ever feel like you're doing too much? Like, do you ever like, I just want to watch Netflix or?
It's most times that I feel like people our age aren't interested in doing more.
Right.
Because it's like a lot of people my age are fine with posting things on their Instagram stories and supporting causes, but not really going out there and actually giving what they speak about,
Right.
or acting on what they speak about. Like Black Lives Matter, but when it comes to actually protecting people or advocating on like alongside people, they're not there.
Why is it important to you to do that?
Because if everyone's silent, who's gonna speak? Who's gonna advocate? Who's gonna make the change? Because without speaking and without expression, you'll never really be able to understand what people are going through or how they're feeling.
Where did all this come from? Like, I mean, like, what are some of your influences?
My parents, for sure.
Right.
Definitely L. Jones. And I ask a lot of questions. I like to learn about my history as a Nigerian, as a Yoruba, as a Canadian also. I like to know things. I'll ask about like family history. I'll ask about my great-grandparents, about like how we came to be and everything like that. I love knowing things. I'm very curious. So that has really allowed me to be able to learn things, and I'm open to hearing new things.
Why? Like, where's the curiosity from?
It just helps me to feel self-assured in my identity.
Right. So like the more I know who I am, type of thing.
Yeah.
I'm laughing because I'm like, what the fuck what was I doing when I was 16? Not that. not that. But you know what? I mean, it's great that you're doing that and you have all these positive influences in your life. But I mean, okay, so now what is the shortest time you've written a poem? Like, it's done, this is it. And then what's the longest time you've spent on a poem?
I wrote one recently that was really short. It's like, I always like to say that whenever I write poetry, I don't know if I'm saying this right, but like something entered you
Right.
to like produce it, and it just shot out of you. So that there was this poem, it was like, I think like 7 or 5 lines, and it just came out like that, and I was like, done, close the book, put it away. That one's just done.
So obviously that's with a pen, right?
Exactly, because the short ones are easier to write. And then there was one I wrote, Together We Stand, the one that everyone loves. That one took me 2 days. I cried over it. I died over it. It was very difficult to write. But
what made it difficult to write?
I don't know. It was like I had to research. I had to get the right flow. It was also my first. No, I was gonna say it's my first longest poem, but no, I actually have other longer poems. But I don't know. It's just I wanted to make sure that it was right and it communicated what it needed to, and that it reflected the people that I wanted it to, which was African Nova Scotians and Black Canadians and African Canadians. I really wanted everyone to be reflected in that poem. So to do that, it was very hard because I had to think deeply about where is this gonna go, how is it gonna flow, what name should I give it, which I also consulted my parents for that too.
Why did you decide on that name?
I was just like, because again, with like the struggle of holding on to what you wrote and thinking, oh, I don't want to change it. But I had to allow myself to be like, okay, I have to accept it. And it turned out to be better than what I thought.
Okay. So we'll call the thing, I guess, the spirit or the inspiration or the muse that gets into you, that produces the, this is it, it's done. Did you have that when you're writing Together We Stand, or it came and went, or this is just, I need to do this?
The first day I struggled because how my doc was when I was writing it, it was multiple different poems, short poems, all in one document. And I was trying to rearrange it to become one long poem. So that was the main struggle, to get everything that I've written, whether small, whether long, to be into one single thing. And some parts of that came out like really fast. It was like, okay, this is the flow, this is it. And some parts were just lines. They were just lines I was like, okay, this one should be in here, this one shouldn't be. So a lot of editing.
Mm.
And when I finally finished it and read it, I was like, this is like the best thing I've done.
Okay, well, I was gonna ask that. Which one is your favorite poem? So that's it.
No, actually, my favorite poem would probably be Descendants of Eve.
Why
I
that one?
like the flow. It's very it's like us descendants of Eve are not here to please. We may be beautiful, but do not be deceived. We are smart, turning new pages, making new pages in his story and making it her story. I just like the way it just goes. It's like, it's almost like rap.
So you're gonna do an album?
I don't know, maybe, because I do like listening to poets on Spotify that like add music. So that might be something I could do.
Okay, so I started with saying that, you know, I kind of followed your story on social media, and then you did stuff with my friend Boma. Let's talk about the thing you did for the mall. How did that happen?
Oh yeah. So they reached out to me, wondering if they could put my poem Together We Stand in the mall. And so we continued to email back and forth, and then they put it up there. They said that another artist would be taking another part of the wall, which turned out to be Boma. And so that's how it went. And now it was up there for a while, but I think now it's gone.
Yeah, no, it was there forever, and
Yeah.
like there's so many photos of it. How was that experience for you?
It was really like cool. It was surreal. I was like, wow. I think because I went the first day they opened it, I was like, Mommy, we need to go, we need to go, we need to go. So I went there and I just stood in front of it. I was like, wow, this is my poem. And it's like right there, like, oh my gosh.
Yes.
And people are going to see this, and people are going to read it and hopefully learn from it.
That part is really important. What I was thinking is like I don't even know about this, but recently I guess some museum in New York, I think it's kind of just emblazoned all of Jay-Z's lyrics on the wall. And it's like, oh my God, you know, this lady had a thing, and like everyone goes to this Halifax shopping center. Exactly. Yeah. I'm like, it would be cool to have my stuff there. I think, you know, I don't get opportunities like that because my head will be like.
I actually, like, a lot of people who might have seen it didn't. Like, I like being mysterious. Nobody knows. Nobody knows if they don't, if they don't say anything, they don't know. Then I'm just who I am. Wherever I go, I don't.
See, that's why I don't, because I'll be like, hey, you know, I think I'll just, every couple of hours, I'll just go to the mall and just walk around there. So someone will like, what are you looking? I'm like, oh, I wrote that.
My close friends didn't even know.
Oh my God.
A lot of my close friends didn't know.
How do you like stay humble? Because like, I don't think you understand how cool it is to have something you wrote on a massive wall, but it is really, really, really cool.
Thank you.
Like, how do you stay grounded while you're like...
My mom definitely helps me with that whenever my head gets too big. She's like, come back down. So I have my mom for that sometimes. But then also, I just, you know, like, I think my friend sent this into the group chat. And she just said something about, and it really resonated with me. She was like, insecurity is loud, confidence is quiet. So if you know you have something, or if you know you're good at something, there's no reason why you need to go out there and be like, da, 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 da.
Yeah, no, you gotta look at me. Look at me. Anyway, and now, hip hop is running 50 years, and Boma is like, loves hip hop. Your writing has some hip hop influences from hip hop, and he's like, okay, you know what? I kind of like, you know, I like hanging the coattails of cool people like yourself. So I was like, hey, I'm gonna do this thing with you, and he was like, okay, great. One of you aboard, because he had such a wonderful experience working with you on the mall. He told me about this one, and it's like, okay. So when he reached out to you, I don't think this thing is ready yet because they're still working on it. But like, what's the process of it? Yeah.
So I actually had a conversation with Boma on the phone, and we were talking, and I was talking about different artists that I would like to include.
Mhm.
So I'm hoping that the poem will be like half poetry, half song and rap and singing.
Holy shit.
So
Wow.
I'm going to do maybe the beginning. I'm planning on putting Burna Boy in there
Okay.
because I really like his music, and we also have the same name. And so Burna Boy, I'm
Oh, okay.
hoping Lauryn Hill, Mary J. Blige, Tupac, just a bunch of rap artists in there, also R&B because I like singing.
Mhm.
So I'll just
Wait, you sing?
yes.
Like sing? So
Like I sing,
you know,
sing.
you know, like the singing in the shower.
No, like perform.
Oh,
Yeah.
like okay. I didn't know of this. I know the poetry thing. So the singing, where did that one come from?
Oh, I've been singing since I was like 3. There's this video of me singing this song because I really wanted a sister when I was younger. So I sang this song called My Sister. And I remember.
Wait, do you like sing people? Do you write songs?
Yeah, I write songs. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I also
Alright.
do a lot of musical theater. So, okay, so I was going to this theater camp recently, and so we had to sing this song. So I do know this song from my head. Here comes a wave meant to wash me away, a tide that is taking me under. Swallowing sand left with nothing to say, my voice drowned out in the thunder. But I won't cry, and I won't start to crumble. Whenever they try to shut me and cut me down, I won't be silent.
Okay. Okay. See, you know what? Like you're just oozing with talent. I'm gonna be like,
Thank you.
I'm not at your level, so please keep your hands away from me. I'm a star.
Thank you.
No, I mean, okay, wow. So what's this like? What's the so? Okay, you're in high school, right?
Mhm.
It was. What are you gonna do? So are you gonna like? What's the plan?
I'm hoping to be a journalist and then be a
What?
lawyer.
What?
Yeah.
Why would you do any of these things? I'm like, are you kidding me?
Because I do love to interview people. Also, I'm a CBC freelance journalist.
Right.
So I interview like students at my school. I mostly focus on youth, and I did interviews about
What, man? I'm sorry to cut you off, but like, what? What? Like everyone is doing a TikTok, and I'm like, nah, I'm gonna be a journalist. And what? Okay, but I mean, is what? So that's your parents keeping you grounded, keeping your feet on solid ground. Cause like, social media is ephemeral. It's gonna like flit away.
Mhm.
So it's good to have something solid. But you know, I mean, there's an opportunity. Oh man, I'm just okay. So I'm just like, my brain is just spinning of all the possible. Anyway, when the camera is off, I'll talk.
Okay.
So yeah. I mean, and how long do you think the poem is gonna be? Do you have a name for it yet?
Ooh, no, but it might be. One of the first lines that I wrote yesterday was, "Bemi travailler, make you know de shalaye. Bemi travailler," between the lines of this hip hop that goes from my toes to my feet. Yeah, something like that. Something about the rhythm of music flowing through bodies that's been living for 50 years, because like 50th anniversary. Something like that. I don't know yet, but I definitely want it to have song and power.
Wow. Okay, so like, I mean, I've done the podcast for a while now. I think I have over 200 episodes, but this one, I'm like, you don't even know how cool you are. Like, you know, it's like, that's the thing. You don't even understand how cool you are. It's like,
Thank you.
what? She's like, just, what? Anyway, so that's going to be ready. And I guess at some point to like do a book and maybe do a spoken word album.
Yes.
Okay, so let me just like, do you ever watch TV at all?
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay, cool. So what TV shows do you like?
Oh, okay. Arsima Thomas, I think her name is. She was so amazing. She's a Nigerian, and she was in Queen Charlotte. That one was really good. I really liked that one because it had Bridgerton, because it had a female black lead, and I just loved the power that surrounded that show. What other movies do I like to watch? I love documentaries. Yesterday we were watching a documentary about this like town in South Carolina called like Little Oyo or something. It was like a little town. And the whole documentary is just based about like Yoruba culture and how when the slave trade happened, it was like Yoruba culture was distributed across the world and across the Americas. They were talking about Yoruba culture in Brazil, in Cuba, and I was like, wow, I'm so proud to be Yoruba and Nigerian
No, it's
watching
true.
this.
I don't know if you've listened to Killer Mike's new album. It's
don't
called
think so.
Michael. There's a track, so it's called High and Holy.
Oh,
And most people don't even know about this. Like, I have a different show while I review stuff, and I'm going to talk about it. But the song starts with this lady just like doing like greetings in Yoruba, like to gods
oh,
and
I see, I
stuff.
see.
No, like
not
to
even like
yeah, like in I want to say incantations, but it's like calling the gods
I
and
see,
stuff.
I see.
Because it's like it's supposed to be spiritual, the song, and then the lady's calling all these things, and it's like all Yoruba and like people that I guess people that know,
No.
but like the average people
Person,
pet,
you
it's gonna
know,
be like,
yeah.
oh yeah,
What
what
is
is
this?
this? But that is the one of the most beautiful songs I've heard in a very long time.
Wow.
So when you were doing that, I was like, oh, okay, I see. Because like, yeah, I mean, that she infused this Yoruba into the song, and then he raps, and then she ends it with like, it's such a beautiful song.
You know what? That's actually one of my goals for a poem. Angelina Kidjo wrote this song called Agolo, and it's one of my favorites. I love the story.
It's beautiful,
I
the
literally
song.
asked my dad to tell me the story about, I think her name was Olajumoke, and like the skull head, and he was like a issue. So he was trying to get her. So I'm hoping to write a poem that will use that like song at the beginning and then talk about like culture and togetherness and then end it with Oreo, Olajumoke, something like that. So that's my goal.
I freaking love that song.
It's so good.
I love the video. I love Angelique Kidjo.
Yes.
And I didn't know the story, so thanks for sharing that. But yeah, I love it. And see, the thing is, you know, people always have these negative connotations about like traditional things, and I don't. A friend of mine is like an artist, and I'm going to make it happen. Like I'm gonna will it to happen. He's like doing these superheroes, but like gods.
God's Orishas, yes.
That's literally the name of the show.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
Okay,
Like
okay.
I'm like, oh, I'm gonna just pull it from the sky to happen because it's so beautiful, and it's like you know, you have all this rich culture, and people just like kind of like, oh, he's bad, and
you know, I think that because before colonialism,
right,
that was our religion.
Right.
So.
Right. Anyway, so I think you should listen to Michael. Is it my favorite song on that album? Like that album is, you can't skip a track.
Okay.
It's that good. But High and Holy is the last track. The first track is Down by Law, but I think you should listen to High and Holy, and I think it's gonna influence whatever you're gonna write next. Because like it's so beautiful. Like, and she's just like, you know, I can't. Okay, so it's weird because I can understand Yoruba clearly. I can't speak it.
Okay.
So I'm not gonna say what she says, but you know, basically she's just calling all the gods and the gods and what they're doing and all this stuff, and she's like Mojuba. It's like, it's so wow. Like I'm listening to that song over and over, and people are like, what the fuck? Why are you listening to this song? But it's just so powerful.
Yoruba is a powerful language.
It is.
Yeah.
I love, you know, so before we came in, I was telling you, I'm like, I love the culture and how impactful it is. And I learned by watching a lot of old Yoruba films.
Yeah, Yoruba movies.
Yeah.
Real. My mom loves them. I don't really like them, but whenever she's watching them,
They're really good
I'll find
ones.
myself being like,
They're really
"Whiz."
so I think like my storytelling comes from my grandmom,
Mhm.
but like it's honed from those films I watched.
Mhm.
There was a film called, it's like, I can't remember, I won't say the title, but essentially it's like the gods own the earth. That's kind of you translated word for word. But essentially the story is, it's kind of how wealth makes people forget where they are from. Kind of like that's the essence of the story, but it's so beautifully made. And the thing I love about it is that that's what I kind of try to do with all films I make. It's like you can't say it's a drama or a horror. It's like it just infuses
Just
all these
everything,
things.
all the genres.
So there are scenes that's gonna make you laugh and scenes gonna make you cry. And even though if the overarching thing is like maybe it's a love story or it's a family that is breaking apart, they put all these things in there. So yeah, they influence a lot of it. So yeah. So anyway, all I have to say is that you don't know how cool you are, which is actually a really good thing to be, because sometimes people get, oh, I'm so cool, and then they stop doing the work.
No, honestly, I just exist, I guess. And I just write, and people like it, and I'm happy they like it. And I feel like the most fulfilling and the best feeling, I met this girl that like, I didn't even know she knew me, and she was like, when you were younger, did you write this poem called Together We Stand? And I was like, oh yeah. And then she was like, we wrote a thing about how we connected to that poem in class. And I was like, that is exactly what I want. I want people to be able to listen to the poem and to be able to connect to it and to learn from it. That's exactly my goal, to educate.
Wow, okay, so it makes sense why you want to be a journalist. I still think you should try and do something like, okay, so we should do
Well,
like
journalism and then being a lawyer.
Oh my God.
Because I'm hoping that a lot of people have been like, you'll be such a good lawyer. And I'm thinking, sure, why not? Because it can help me to be able to put knowledge behind my words.
Okay, you know, all that is cool and well, but I'm going to make it my life's mission to make sure you're such a big star. You don't have time to, you don't have time to do all those things. It's like, oh, I need to go to, I need to go to this thing to do that thing. So I can't do that now. It's true, because, I mean, school is great, but your voice is so powerful that way more people need to hear it than like people that will go to court or people that will read your articles or stuff. And I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna find a megaphone that's big enough, like right. And I think, you know, it is when you have the right fuel behind the right person, then the trajectory the person is gonna go. And you don't have to worry about when they get to those heights, are they gonna like mess things up? I don't think that is something I have to worry about, because if you're at this age and you're this grounded, it's just only gonna get. So okay, so you do poetry. Like, do you ever see yourself like writing stories or?
I do write stories. I write a lot of stories.
Okay. What are you?
One thing I'm hoping to get into is playwriting.
Yeah. That's what I want. Like, you know, yes. So my whole thing is, I think poetry is cool, music is cool, all that stuff is cool, but I think, you know, as long as a person can hear and see, the best way to tell a story is through like visuals. Like when you take images and words together.
Literally,
It's
there
like,
was this image I found on Pinterest of this girl, black and white, and she's just a black girl with her hair free, and she was like holding flowers, and she was like smelling them. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna write like a prose poem story about this. So I did, and I called it The Girl in the Polaroid Picture, and it was just about like black beauty, and about like I kind of like spun a story about that image.
okay, we have to end this interview because okay. We have to end this because my mind is blowing online. Anyway, okay. Last one. I mean, I've asked this before though, and you say it comes down to your parents, but at the end of the day, like your parents aren't always with you. Like them, you have to like it still has to come down to you. So what do you think it is about you that keeps you so grounded?
A lot of the times, it's like a lot of it's like, oh, do I deserve this?
Yes! Yes! You deserve all the things. Are you kidding me?
I know, but that is one thing that, like, it might not be a good thing, but it is one thing that I'm like, do I really deserve this? So I don't feel comfortable going full out like,
All that.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So when you ask yourself that question, what answers do you give yourself?
I guess
I know I said that was the last question, but sorry,
It's
I
all
lied.
good. I do work. I do work for what I get. So
That is it. So you know what? I always say, you should never feel bad for what you get based on the amount of work you've put in. Because everyone is going to see, oh, she has a poem on the wall. Nobody's going to
See
see
the work
all
that I
that
did.
friggin' thing you
all the
did.
crying.
Yeah. So you can't feel bad
Yeah.
for anything you get because
Yeah.
like you know the work. And here's the thing I always say, there are gonna be three groups of people. There are gonna be people that love what you do. There are gonna be people that hate what you do, and there are people that do not even care what you do.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about those two people. You don't have to worry about the people that hate your stuff. They are just haters. You need to have haters. It's like there are some people that's their job, and then the people that don't care, you don't have to worry about them. You just have to care about that one person that is interested in the thing you're doing. And if the work you're doing is getting you all these beautiful things you're putting out there,
And also God, I believe God
Right.
has a big hand in my ability and my favor and grace to be able to get these opportunities. Because when I was younger, if I ever imagined I'd be here or be doing any of those things, I don't think I would have been able to imagine that for myself. So
what did you want to? That was okay. Last question. What did you want to be growing up? I mean, I know you're still a kid, but still.
it changed a lot. I wanted
Yeah.
to be a fashion designer because I also love fashion.
Do
I
you
do fashion
sew?
illustrations. Yes, I do so. So I wanted to be a fashion designer. I wanted to be. I also do art. I paint.
Oh my God. Okay, I hate you now. I'm now officially a hater of Damini. What? Okay. So
I wanted to be a vet.
Wow.
What else did I want to be? I wanted to be a hairdresser for some point in time. I think I wanted to be a firefighter.
So you know what I've seen in this thing? It's like everything you're doing is serving people.
Yeah.
What do you want to do for yourself?
I don't know. I don't know. Continue to write, I guess,
There you
and
go.
sing and paint and create, because that's what I like to do.
Okay, I'm going to end there because I have too many questions. I have so many things I want to say, but I want to say thank you so much. And I can't wait to hear your performance of whatever it is you're creating for
Thank you.
the celebration. And thank you for coming to the podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me.